Everybody who's ever there, I wanted to say hello to you all tonight. See if we got a little bit of delay going on here. Let's check that out. All right, so far, we got hello, Lonnie. I think was that? Was it? Did you say hello earlier? I don't know if that was you just saying hello now or earlier. All right. Well, we'll just hang around here and wait a little bit. If there's a little bit of delay and people are logging in and they get a chance to listen in here in a little bit, then they'll hear my voice eventually. All right. How is everybody doing? I should have a nice intro with music or something like that, right? To kind of get it going. One of those intros that you see some of the other YouTubers do. Hey, Electric Buzz, good evening. How are you? How are you doing this evening? How has your weekend and beginning of your week been? At least the first day of the week? Oh, blue G10 pyrite today. Is that one of the White Mountain Knives exclusives, or did you get it from maybe Knife Center or something? I'm curious because I saw a G10 that had sort of like I don't know what they call it, like a camo G10. It's kind of like coral looking, really kind of cool. I was curious what it looked like. Oh, we got the audio in the background. I got to turn that off here. Hold on a second. If you hear the double audio, there we go. All right. I think it's kind of early. I started a little bit early, so we're just going to kind of hang around here and wait a little bit. Electric Buzz, what have you been carrying this week? What knives have you been carrying on yourself? Kind of curious. I have been actually enjoying. Took out my Dark Bolt again. I was carrying that for a bit, and my Exciton. That's been a lot of fun to carry, obviously. I am waiting on a knife to come in um, that I ordered. It's going to replace another one that I had ordered that didn't work out for me. I'll just say that. I actually have an unboxing coming out, but I won't be having a review for it, unfortunately. It's a knife that I'll probably wait till there's some more iterations of it and they kind of fix everything and get it cleaned up. Because first time you release something, you're bound to be a little kinks and some difficulty, but I'm sure it's going to get better. I have no doubt. I do have a couple of boxes that came in. Somebody sent in some knives, so I'm really looking forward to opening that. I haven't done it yet. Um, got a couple of knives that I'm going to have an opportunity to check out thanks to some of you awesome subscribers loaning them. So I'm super excited about that. The Microtech loot. Oh, and that's nice. And the Pirate all week. Yeah, that's cool. You have a Tucson and a petrified fish. Oh yeah. Well, thank you. That's cool. I appreciate that. Thank you, Electric Buzz. Yeah, very much would like to check that out. There's some knives that I haven't tried. First time experience. If you saw my unboxing today, that was my first Boker experience. I really hope that was an exception. I have seen a few other reviews, and some of them have been okay, and some have not. And so I'm not exactly sure, you know, where that stands. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna kind of leave it at that. Um, it was unfortunate because the knife was really gorgeous when I took it apart and everything. I mean, not took it apart when I opened it and was flicking and actuating it and opening and closing it, and then the pivot screw just started getting loose, and the blade just started sliding over. You know, the blade part it was almost ready to touch, and I didn't want to scratch that beautiful black blade on there. So, yeah. Hello, Broke AZ Knives. I can relate to that. Yeah, definitely, Electric Buzz. Please do. I'll send that address to you where you can ship it. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. And if there's anything that like I always say, if you're gonna gracious enough to lend me a knife, just tell me what I can and cannot do. I typically won't carry it. I won't do any hard use. I won't disassemble it. I will at the most maybe cut a piece of paper, but even then I realize it's somebody's knife, and that wouldn't be fair, you know, because you could have been using it. My goal is to get a feel for it, you know, open and close it, kind of take a look at it, inspect it, and you know, usually I'll do all that at my desk here, and I'll kind of have it next to my desk throughout the week. Like I've got a couple of knives that I'm reviewing right now. One is part of our Apex pass around, and one is from Sencut, and Sencut's been really awesome to let us take a look at it. I've never actually looked at a Sencut. I've had Civivis and Wiis, right? But I've never taken a look at the Sencut, and I'm pretty impressed with them. It's a really great budget knife. You know, it's definitely, you know, you have Wii, and then you have Civivi, and then you have Sencut, but Sencut and Civivi sometimes are pretty close. Michael Sawyer, good evening. Welcome. I gotta say, Broke AZ Knives, I like your name because I can totally relate to that. We used to live in Arizona, actually. I used to live out in Chandler, and then we lived out in Ahwatukee for a little bit. We rented a house out there, and then we bought a house out in Maricopa. So, yeah, I was out there for a company, and then I moved back to Texas for another company. So Michael and Broke Arizona Knives, what have you guys been carrying this week? Since we're just kind of waiting around here, you know, as more people join. You probably saw some of my shorts. I've been carrying, you know, my Dark Bolt again, and I've been carrying, obviously, my Exciton. I've really enjoyed this one. And I put the skiff washers in that. That really, I mean, I don't think it needed it, but it just made it a little bit nicer, you know? It really did. So I did enjoy that. I really like this knife. That one's a lot of fun. It's a lot lighter. If you don't like a super light knife, it might freak you out a little bit. But if you like a light knife, you might enjoy that. And here's one of my few micarta knives. This is my Pena Trapper that I had. I actually wore this to my son's wedding as my knife, and so for a while I was thinking of getting rid of it, and I didn't want to. And one of the reasons was I couldn't strop sharpen it, so I finally just reprofiled the blade. And I got to tell you, this blade, especially with this shape and the thickness of this blade, I decided to go for a longer edge, and it made a world of difference. It's really fantastic knife now. I really do like it a lot. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Pena X series, the little, like the Trapper and all the different ones they have. A Ferrum Forge Dow, okay, this week, that's cool. And a Roxy 3, and it's in the mail. Oh, nice, nice. Oh, my name's pronounced as, okay, so Broke AZ Knives. I got you, I got you. That makes sense. I like that. That's a good play on words. Yeah. I mean, you know, I asked my best buddy, he's a graphics design artist, and he's the one that actually came up with my logo because I said, hey, I had this idea. I'll just tell you, my picture was nothing as good as this, right? And so he drew this up real quick for me. By the way, I got my new stickers in. So look at that. They're really nice stickers. I got them from Zugmonster. So these are the stickers I'm going to be sending back with when anybody gracious enough to let me borrow a knife, or if you win something. We're not having a giveaway tonight, just so you know. Well, maybe next week. I'm waiting for a knife to come in that I'll definitely be doing as a giveaway. But I was really excited about this. But my friend, if you notice on this picture, every hair on here is a knife. Every letter is a knife. So every design, if you look at every curvature, it's actually a knife shape that was put together to make the hair, except for the glasses. That's the only difference. But all the letters are all knives. So that's kind of the uniqueness about it. So, and, you know, my buddy knows I'm a nerd, so there you go. Yeah, so that's my first purchase of some swag. I've got quite a few stickers. I think there's a lot, but you know, I'm sure they're going to go pretty quick. But I'm super excited about that. I'm thinking of maybe doing a few other stickers. I got to come up with some ideas and stuff. But I wanted to at least have a decent, good sticker to send out for folks, you know? I still like that. Broke as knives. Was it broke as knives? Yeah. Okay. I can see that. AZ. So you're just pronouncing it like, you know, AZ. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was pretty excited about it. I mean, to me, it's, you know, I know there's some really complicated logos out there, and I was going for something that's kind of unique, easy to visually to look at, and doesn't overwhelm. Right? I'm all about simplicity, yet trying to get a point across. That's kind of where I'm at. Because I can get very complicated and detailed oriented, so it's really easy to get lost in the details. And I wanted this to be, you know, a little simpler. Still has a little complication, you know. He's got a little serrated blade in there, and he's got a nice, looks like a hollow grind blade over here, and a little non-traditional sort of slip joint. I guess you could call this. Maybe this would be a pseudo Swiss Army type of knife, you know. But there you go. I should probably put that sticker out, so you know, if anybody wants to see it, I'll stick it up here if you can see that. Let's see, does it show up on the camera? I don't know if it gets cut out. Is it close enough? I'll probably drop some of these things down just a little bit. How about that? You can probably see it a little bit better. Okay, you can see it. Awesome. Awesome. All right, we got 7 people here. So who else we got? Who else do we have? We have Beefer Baron. Welcome, Beefer Baron. I like that name too. Makes you sound like you're a baron, a royalty of cattle and beef. That's really cool. Michael Sawyer. The Fair and Forge Dow, is that, I got to look that up. What I'm going to do is I actually have the computer running. And by the way, I restarted the network tonight, so it's actually started off clear and it's not fuzzy. So I'm pretty excited about that. Decided to do a little IT pre go live, you know, maintenance there. So I got to look that up. It's the Fair and Forge. What is it? Fair and Forge Dow. Okay, yeah, now I remember that one. Now, did you get the drop version of that one, or was there a release after the drop? Because I actually had the Fair and Forge, the drop version of my of the Mordax. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I mean, at least that way it's recognizable, right? You know, that's the goal. It's not perfectly straight, so if any of you guys who are OCD this might be bothering you a little bit, so I apologize. If you're not, then it doesn't bother you. All right, so carrying a Tucson TS248 arrived today. Very nice. A Cold Steel Code 4 and a Spartan Formido. Spartan Formido. I got to look that one up because that one I don't know. Oh, okay. The drop down, you got it as knife swap. That's cool. Yeah, it looks like a really nice. It looks like a really nice knife. I actually think I was checking if this is the same one. I think it was on Amazon when they had Amazon used to have like almost all the drops on there when they had enough inventory. I think I was checking this out and I think I missed it. I don't know if it's still available there, but I was actually checking it out because it had the flipper and it had the fuller, and it was before I really got into like the thumb hole, reverse flicking and stuff like that. I really didn't know much about that. You know, it's a while ago, but. Oh, yeah, the third biggest farm in Michigan. Wow, that's a lot of cows. I went to college with a guy who was from Washington State, and he knew everything about beef. And also, the guy scored like a perfect score in the SAT, so he was a genius, and he was a physics guy. But he could tell you things about cows I didn't know you knew about cows. He could look at a cow and diagnose it and look all sorts of things. I mean, there is a lot there to be known. My son, he's an FFA, and he is going to be buying a lamb for this year. Last year it was his first year, and he bought a lamb. and he got a small U, and she was, short, and so she did all right. She was 9 out of 16 in his county show, but the one he got this year, yeah, it's paying a lot more, but he's been saving and working for it, and it's related to a grand champion that was not for sale when he was there. That's a breeder and stuff, and so yeah. So he's very excited about this year. Hopefully he'll do a little bit better and learn more. He's going to be a junior, so he has a couple more years to learn more about that. He wants to be a vet. That's his goal. He wants to be a veterinarian. He wants to go to Texas A&M University. Now, if you know anything, I'm a Texas X, UT Longhorn, so don't hate me if you hate Longhorns, please. You know, but he wants to go A&M, and that used to be a rivalry for me, and I'm okay with that. Because they've got the best vet school in Texas, obviously. One of the best vet schools in the nation. I mean, they really are outstanding. And I'm sure, Beaver Baron, you probably met some vets from there. I have not checked out any Cold Steel. That is one of those that I should put on my list. I really would like to check out a Cold Steel. Now, I'd like to check out some of those, the classic ones. I think, isn't there like one that's called 8010? I was really close to buying it at some point. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I should put that on there because in case anybody has a Cold Steel they'd be willing to loan. If not, I'm just not sure which one to get yet. I don't want to get one just to get one and be disappointed, because right now, obviously, everything I buy is my own collection, so it's my own money, and I don't get free knives from vendors except for one time. That did happen. That was super exciting. Hopefully, it'll happen again. And actually, I am going to be getting in a Civivi. If y'all remember that Civivi Elementum that I reviewed, it goes to the pass round, and Civivi gave that to the group. And so I'm really grateful to Civivi, and I ended up winning it. So I'm going to be using that knife as a giveaway. So I'll be giving away a Civivi Elementum version 2 with a flipper at some point whenever that comes in. So I'm super excited about that. Oh, it's your first for you for Cold Steel? That's interesting. Yeah. So, oh wait, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Broke. Oh, your Tucson. Oh, the Cold Steel Code 4. It's your first one. Okay, it's your first Cold Steel. So you got the Code 4. I want to look that up because I know there's a. Isn't there the 8010 also? I thought. Oh, okay. Did you get the Tonto version like this one here? Did you get the Tonto version of the Code 4, or did you get one of the other? Oops. Well, let's see if I can close that. So there's a drop point, looks like, or spear point, excuse me. Then we got a clip point, got a serrated. I guess they have a clip point and a spear point. Those are the two. Oh, so you moved from Massachusetts, huh? I actually lived up in Tewksbury, up by Andover. So I worked for a company up there in New Hampshire, actually, and we were going to buy a house in New Hampshire before I got relocated back to Texas. So you got the drop point. All right, so on here they have what they call the spear point and a clip point. I'm guessing this spear point, this looks more like a drop point to me, and I'm guessing maybe that's what the one you got right there, or unless it's a different version, but that's cool. I like that. So the one that I was checking out, no, that's not it. I think it's the 8010. Is that the one? Not that. Well, it's a Demco, right? It's Demco design, but I believe it's a Cold Steel. Yeah. I was looking at that. Have you all heard anything about that one? Does anybody know about the 8010? If you were going to get, like, if you were going to tell someone to get their first Cold Steel, not a really cheap Cold Steel, but not over the top expensive Cold Steel, what would you recommend? I keep coming back to this. I keep hearing reviews, people's thoughts, discussions about it. This one seems to be one that I hear a lot of recommendations for. Kind of curious if anybody has had any dealings with that one. If you have, let me know. I'd be really curious about that. Oh, so The Code 4 is slippery, so it doesn't have any texture on the grip. Is it like a G10, like real smooth G10? Because it looked like it was a G10 kind of handle. That's what I saw. Oh, you got a current Amazon deal. Oh yeah, I gotta check that out because sometimes Amazon has some crazy deals out there. I did get a couple of knives for that very reason. Aluminum. Oh, okay. That's nice. Yeah, aluminum can be really cool. It's definitely like even this is aluminum in the Benchmade, and I really like this right here. I mean, I know titanium. I was thinking of get the Flytanium, but when I saw this, I really like this. And I bought this back when they had a really big sale. I think it was actually at Blade HQ. They had a big sale on Benchmades like a year and a half, a couple years ago. And it was just after this has been out for a little bit, and this went on sale, and I got a great deal. Not seeing that now with prices, right? All the prices are, at least Benchmades, all the prices are really high again. I'm hoping the quality is there with those prices, because if you can't be charging those prices if you don't have the quality to back it up. That's my only thing. Now, there's some great Benchmades, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like the Adamas. I had the big one and the mini, and I don't think I appreciated it. I had too many Benchmades, and I got into that phase where I had nothing but Benchmades. I don't know if anybody's been there. You know, you either do like all Spydercos, all Benchmade, all Kershaw, probably all Cold Steel. You know, you find one manufacturer that you like, and you embrace it, and then you realize, wait a second, there are other things out there. What? So that was kind of my experience with Benchmade, and I kind of, you know, because I had so much Benchmade and I saw the other thing, I sold them all, and looking back on it, I kind of regretted it. I'm glad I have my bug out, but I still wish I had my Adamas. I may bring that back into my collection because that was always, I like that knife. But the one I really want to get is the one with the carbon fiber handles. But it's carbon fiber, and it's got an interesting steel insert and color of blade. I wish it was all blacked out, like the blacked out version with the crew wear. Just slick. Okay. Yeah, that's why I like this. This had a little texture, and that you know, the Flytanium ones didn't have a whole lot of texture, and this one did. And I mean, honestly, that's a nice texture. I mean, if you're gonna do any kind of pattern, to me, I don't know, that's a nice pattern. I think that's nice. Just like that's the whole reason why I like the traditional pocket knives. I love their exclusives from traditional pocket knife of the QSPs. This is the Penguin Plus, and I need to drop my review for this one that's coming out. But I have the mini and the regular one. Love it. And this, yeah, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. This is definitely a step above just a regular Penguin. And you know, it's more expensive, obviously, but I think it's worth it for what you get. The Recon One. Oh, that's another one I've heard about. Yeah, let me take a look at that one. Thank you. Recon One. Okay, okay. So looks like G10 on a lot of these. What do we got? Some interesting serrations there. All right, what do we got? Oh, there's an XL version. So which one do you get? The XL? Oh, is that a 5.5-inch blade? What? That sounds like it's a gigantic nut. Oh my God, it's a 12 and a quarter inch blade. That is huge. I mean, that's like a sword. That's like a mini pocket sword. Oh, that'd be cool, Electric Buzz. I would appreciate that. Excuse me. Wow, do you have the XL version? I mean, that's too big, right? But I mean, that would be a fun knife just to have if you needed something to chop, right? But that looks huge. That looks gigantic, I have to say. Yeah, that one's big. Oh, and they have a micro too. That's interesting. That's really cool. Yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah, I could see that. So the Code 4, what is it? You've got the Recon One, and then it's the AD10. Yeah. So those are the ones that I've heard most about. At least, you know, as far as blades and stuff like that. So I don't know. You have 3 XLs and you use them as a machete. Okay, I could see that at 12.5 inches, or 12 and a quarter inches. That's what are we talking about here? We're talking about, yeah, it's going to be, so we go 6 plus 18, so we're looking at, we're looking at something that's literally, I don't know if we can do that. Can we get that on the camera? Yeah. So it's going to be from here, so 6 to about right here. Yeah, so it's going to be, no, about right here to here. That means that it would literally, it would be 3 knives. Yeah, that's big. Hey, good evening, Dave. Dane. Gov, Gav, man, one of these days I'm going to learn how to say that. And Gav Gavrilowski? Am I getting close? Gavrilowski. I'm going to say Gavrilowski. Hopefully that's close. Hey, well, welcome. I appreciate you being here. Definitely. Just asking folks, what have you been carrying this week? What's been your knife of carry of EDC? And then you got anything that anything in the hunt coming in? I do have a topic for tonight that I thought would be a fun topic for our live stream, right? It's what knife let you down? To me, that seems like I don't know, seems like a topic that I think we can all relate to. Maybe you've never had a knife that let you down, and that's awesome. If you've never had a knife that let you down, cool. But I've had a few. Matter of fact, you saw one of the reviews today. That was one that let me down. Whoops! I just knocked over my soundboard here. I have one of these little sound cushions to kind of make my office a little more quiet, so that you don't hear the sound from my kids outside. I've got twin boys, are 16. Excuse me, and at 16 they sometimes get loud. I don't know if any of you guys have sons, especially when they're twins. I nickname them the Sons of Thunder because they sometimes sound like thunder when they're having a little head-to-head with each other. I grew up the youngest of 4 brothers, so I try to mitigate that because didn't have our dad around to help mitigate that, so I had brothers who probably got away with way too much. And being the youngest, I didn't really have a say into it until I got older and I got stronger, and I lifted a lot of weights just so I wouldn't get picked on anymore. And it worked, but I'll just say that if y'all know, young men can get pretty rowdy, break some windows and some door frames if they go unchecked. So the 8015, the 81. Oh, so the 8015. That one I don't know if I looked at that one. So the 8015. Let's take a look at that. So the 8050. Oh, okay. I've seen that one. Yeah. Is that Scorpion lock? Yeah, that's what that's the Scorpion lock. That's cool. It's a Demko design, obviously, like the 8010. Obviously 80, Andrew Demko. But which one did you get? And how does that, do you pull up on it and that releases it? Is that how it works? And can you flip it? Is it easy when you pull up on it? Does the blade drop, or is it like a slow roll type of knife? Kind of curious. Yeah, my dad wasn't around when we were younger, so I try to be there for my boys, just to keep them from hurting each other and breaking the house. That's what I always say. When I yell at them, I go, "Hey, you need to calm down. Don't break my house." So good evening, Rocky. Yes, hello. Hopefully you got your knife back. I did see it got delivered. I never got a chance to. I had a drafted reply to your email to say, hey, did you get the knife on the 10th? I think you did. I'm assuming you hadn't said you didn't, so I hope you did, because they said they delivered it. If not, then I need to make a claim with USPS. So, okay, so you lift it up on the top bar and it disengages. It's very fidgety. So does it drop? Is it phosphor bronze washers, or is it cage ceramic ball bearings? And I mean, just because it's phosphor phosphor bronze washers doesn't mean that it can't have great action. Because my little Spyderco pair 3, I love this little thing, and it's got great action. And I can do we've been doing it here, do the spider flick, right? All that wonderful stuff. And then you can also do just like you can with a button lock, flip it open. And it's S45VN steel, I gotta say. Now, I am on the waiting list, by the way. I don't know if anybody heard of RG Custom Works. If you're on Instagram, Nick Shabazz actually had a scale on his pair 3 put on from him, and I got on his waiting list for his titanium milled scale for this. I'm really excited about that. I would actually be giving up my Arctic Storm for that, but I think it would be absolutely unbelievably gorgeous. So we'll see when he'll have those out. I think he's a couple of months out at least, because I'm just in the waiting queue. He's one guy. He mills them all himself. So, when he has them, he'll sell them, and then I buy them. I like that. I didn't have to pre-order like 6 months or a year out. Me and my pre-orders. I'm not a huge fan. Oh, your Chavez was supposed to arrive today. Now I got delayed until tomorrow. Man, that's a bummer. I got another video I'm dropping on, you don't see it here, on my Maverick. I returned it. So I'll just say that I think Tactile Knife Company, they do a great job on their stuff, but sometimes it's better, let me rephrase that, to wait until they've produced a few to get the kinks out. And I didn't like the way their access, their crossbar lock worked. Maybe I'm just kind of spoiled with Benchmade. I'm used to seeing a knife actually being able to drop like this, and I did that by tuning it. It came in, it was a slow roll, right? But I got it to tune, and it worked just fine. All right, so we had a pause in the network again. Let me see what's going on. My boys are playing video games, so make sure they're not taking up the bandwidth. So I'm gonna do the. All right, so if you can hear me, I'm reconnecting. All right, I don't know if the audio's back, and if you can hear me, hopefully it didn't disconnect, but I am back. All right, good. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so the other thing is that they did get, what is it, the new Link, the game with the little elf or whatever it is. Boy, I sound like an idiot. If you guys play video games, I'm going to sound like an idiot saying that, but you know what I'm talking about? The, what is the name of that game? It's the one with the, yeah. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. It's pretty new game. It just got released yesterday. Zelda, yes, thank you, Zelda. So he got that, and they've been playing it, and everybody's been playing it in the house. So we've got like two people, two different computers, and he downloaded, I guess, some mega gigabyte package, and we got all the streaming going on. I got to do the QoS setting on my router just to give myself restricted bandwidth just for this broadcast, so I'm not competing with the other ones. That's a little IT nerd talk for the way I can kind of give myself a pipeline for good connection. And it always seems like it struggles just a little bit when I'm watching the stream on my computer as opposed to if I watch it on my iPad. So I don't know why, but that's what it seems to do. So especially with the kids playing. Oh, so all your kids are playing it? Yeah. So Zelda, I guess, okay, so my 16-year-old, my son, who's a football player and a soccer player, and he's the athlete, when he plays his sports games, he gets very vocal and into it, and you can really, hey, Danny, welcome. All right, oh, you got to go. Hey, no problem, man. Let me know when your Chavez lands. I don't know if you knew, but I actually replaced my Maverick with a Chavez. I got the 229. And I got the drop point. I didn't get the Tonto, but I got the drop point version. So I'm super excited about that because everything I read about that kickstop was like, it really is worth trading in that for. So we'll see. It'll be my first Chavez ever, so hopefully it'll be a good one. You have a great night, Danny. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping in, man. Yeah, so Legend of Zelda. So I was telling you real quick, my son, so he normally gets really into his sports games and yells at his buddies and they yell back, and I like that. I mean, if he's going to play video games, I really like the fact that he's playing with other kids. I mean, they're interacting. He's not sitting in front of computers zoning out and by himself and isolated. He's engaged to the game with all his friends there on the phone. You can hear them all talking, and to me that's, I don't know, that's better. If you're going to play a video game, I like that more, right? Because he's interacting. But he gets kind of loud. He gets kind of mad sometimes with those games. But with Zelda, he's still into it. He seems happier, And I'm glad it's a nice little change of rhythm for him. So, he's on a quest. He's searching things out, I guess. So, hello, Me with Knives. We're doing well. We're doing well. How about yourself? We're talking knives. Kind of people sharing what they've been carrying this week. What they're looking for, what are the things that are coming in. I dropped one video today on the Boker Plus Urban Trapper Premium in JG10. I actually returned that, and Blade Ops was really great about that and returning it. I was really disappointed. Everything about that knife was fantastic. It was made by Riot. It was beautiful. When I tightened the pivot screw, it kept loosening up, and trying to put a little Loctite in there, I've taken screws apart on knives. Like this knife, I've taken this knife probably apart 30 times, and these are all the same original screws, right? And I do not ever strip them, and these are steel. Now, I believe the Boker, because it's a Riot one, they were all titanium screws, but they were very shallow, and that's one thing I noticed. And they were very tight when you actually they were T8s. And so when I put the T8 torque in there, it literally would sink in and it would stick. And so when you pulled it out, it was like it would get stuck in there. And that was the actual size, right? Anything smaller would rotate. Anything bigger wouldn't get in there. And so it was a T8, right? Just a full T8. But it started to bend, literally the little crimping, the prongs that are inside the screw itself. This didn't bend at all. No damage to this at all. I mean, it was like really, really soft titanium or something. And it ended up, I couldn't tighten the two pivots together, and I've never had that happen before. That was really weird. Recon 1 and a bug out. We were just talking about the Recon 1, matter of fact. Me with Knives. I was asking about if I've been kind of wanting to maybe check out Cold Steel, right? You hear good, you hear bad. Cold Steel used to be great, and then people say, well, it's not so great. But there's some classics out there that I think are still great knives and are still really solid knives. And people were saying the Recon 1, the 8010, the 8015, and was it the Code 4? I believe it was. Let me see if was it the Code 4? I can't remember. 8015, and then the other one was come on, no, it's the 8010. I was trying to find the other one. Well, I'm assuming it's the Code 4. I can't quite remember. You guys can help me out. I believe it was the Code 4. Yeah. So the Code 4, do you have the Code 4 yourself, Me with Knives? I was kind of curious. Yeah, we were talking about the Recon 1. That was a recommendation. If I was going to get a first full steel, what should I look at? I don't want to get a budget one, but I don't want to get something over the top. I want to get something that's useful. Like it be like a beater knife, something you could use. I consider like some of my QSPs like that, right? Something that I can, this weekend I was working in the yard, and I actually brought this little guy with me. I brought my Urban EDC, my F5.5, and I was cutting some weeds and some branches and some things with this thing, and you can't tell because it's it's black stone washed kind of a material, so it doesn't really scratch and show up a lot. But this worked great out there, and I even had gloves on when I was working with this because of the weeds and stuff that I was pulling. Some of the weeds had thorns on them, so but I was able to use this and roll it open and everything. Oh, I think I still have some grass in there. Uh, anyways, but that's the kind of knife that I'd like to carry, when I'm out there working in the yard. And it sounds like the Code 4 might be nice for that. Oh, is the Recon one, we were talking about the XL, right? The Recon 1 XL, that's the 12 and a quarter inch one. Yeah. Oh, the Voyager XL. Is that the like the giant pocket sword one that they have? The one they talk about. You want to talk about a big knife. This is a big knife. So you bought an SRKC. After I bought it, I grabbed an SRK Recon Tonto. Perfect truck knife, nightstand. Oh, I like that, and garage knife. Yeah. Yeah, I do admit I have some big knives. I have a really kind of a cheap knife that I think my son bought and he didn't want it, and I put it in my wife's car, and it's got like 440 steel on it, and it's serrated. But you know what? It's a knife. If I needed to cut something and I needed to destroy a knife, I wouldn't care. I mean, I'll always have a knife on me, and she always has a knife with her on her purse, at least one. She actually has two. And but for a car, if you need to cut, like let's say you run over some rope or something that's in the middle of the road and it gets tied up in your wheel or your axle and you need to cut it off, that's a you want a knife you could just kind of destroy and do that with. Not that that would ever happen, but you never know. The Voyager XL is 5.5 inches. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like the 12-inch one. The what is it? 12 and a quarter inch. Let's see if I can find it again. We had it here earlier. Come on. Oh, I guess it did forward. Was it the Recon one? I think it was the Recon 1 XL. No, it wasn't this one. It was maybe it was the Code 4. Probably the Code 4. That's what I'm going to guess. All right. Yeah, they're not good steel, but they work. Is there S35 VN steel okay? Because I mean I know some of the two knives that you guys were recommending. I noticed that they were in S35 VN steel. I assume that they at least do a decent job. I mean, I can hope. Yeah, the XL is one that's the 12-inch overall. Yeah, that's gigantic. That's hilarious. Is it Bradford Knives that makes the really great fixed blades? And I thought they're the ones that also make the sword. There's a sword they make in CPM 3V, and it's super expensive. And I saw it; it was beautiful. But it's if I needed a zombie apocalypse type of knife, that would be the one I'd want to get. Now that's $500-600 investment, but I mean, if your life's on the line, I think that would be an okay amount to spend, right? Oh, they do OS 10A too. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of OS 10A. I mean, I guess OS 10A is supposed to be close to something like Nitro V or 14C 28, 28, 14C 28N. Oh, I can't talk right now. Um, where's the one that I was carrying this week? Oh, here it is. This one here is, I think, is 9CR 18 MOV. I think it's supposed to be a little bit better than the 8 CR, because the 8 CR is the one that you see Spyderco with their budget lines a lot carry, but I think the 9 CR and the 10 CR are supposed to be really, like a step above the OS 10A. At least that's what I hear. So OS 10A is supposed to be 154C, but more like the ingot version, right? Or is it close to? Is it close to the? It doesn't matter as far as CPM, because like D2, I thought D2. If you have D2 CPM D2 and D2, I thought the ingot. I thought, are they the ones that are pretty close? It's the 154 CM where the the powdered version, the CPM 154, is better than the ingot version. I don't know. I I think I've got those two backwards. So 9CR is 440C. Okay. All right, that's good. And the 10CR is the VG10. Okay, yeah, so that's the one I heard. The 10CR is supposed to be the really pretty decent one. VG10 is up there with, I don't know if it's up there with 14C28N or not, but, or is VG10, do you think VG10 is better than 14C28N? I'm kind of curious because, I don't have a ton of budget knives. I've had some, but I don't have a ton and I don't test them a lot. And so I have a few, and mostly I have, S30, S35VN, things like that, because, these are my collection knives. These are things that I carry, and I'm, at some point, if I get the opportunity to test more knives and they're given to me by manufacturers, then yeah, that may change. But um, I don't. I already have some good hard use budget type of knives, but I haven't really tested a lot of those. Okay, so you thought it was more like 9CR 18 for AUS 10A. See, that's what I thought too, because I thought AUS 10A was a step below D2. And I thought when they did the K110 to AUS 10A, it was sort of a lateral kind of a move. That's my understanding. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I had heard. Now I know AUS 10 and AUS 10A is just a little bit better, right? But I wasn't sure. Yeah, 14C28N that's some good stuff. That's right now. It's probably the king of the budget steels. I mean, even above Nitro V. I think above. I mean, I don't know if it's better than 154. It all depends, right? It's the heat treat. It gets back to how well is it heat treated, right? 12C27 is pretty great. See, I have not ever bought a knife or heard about a knife that has 12C27. Is it 12C27N or something like that? So is it like a tough steel? So we're talking like a budget version, like a 3V or something like that? Or does it have more corrosion resistance and or edge retention properties? Kind of curious about that. We're talking about steels that I don't have a lot of experience in, and that's cool. It makes me want to go and read up on it. Yeah, see, that's what I've heard. The 14C28N it's a very forgiving type of steel in the sense of for manufacturers. Okay, so it's a predecessor to 14C28N. I got you. Okay. So 14C28N is like just a more refined version of it. I got you. Okay, that's cool. So tonight, the topic I thought it would be really fun to talk about if it was developed for razors. Okay, I could see that. Um, what knife let you down after the hype? You got it, and there was all this hype. Do you have any knives that let you guys down? Was there a knife that you built up so much and then it was just really disappointing? Or did you think a knife was more than it really was, and then when you got it, you were really bummed out about it? That's the topic that if you want to think about it, but I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on that because I have a few that I have like that. Okay, so they went to the Sandvik and formed a 14C based on 12C. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I am not a steel specialist. I will be the first one to tell you that, but I do very much appreciate good steel, and I do listen to the people who talk about it. Like I really like to listen to Laren Thomas. I've been watching his stuff lately. Um, he had one out recently. What was the one he just dropped? Oh, what was he talking about? Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, if you're not familiar, he's the Steel Nerds. I think Real Steel Nerds. I think that's what I think that's his name of his channel, but Laren Thomas. He's got a PhD in metallurgy, and he is definitely someone that is worth listening to and reading up and checking out his website and maybe even getting his book that I believe is about ready to be published. That's cool. Yeah, the knife steel history. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like him. I can relate to the guy. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. My wife is not a big fan of him because it's a lot of information and it can be boring unless you're really into it, right? But that's cool. Kershaw on 14C. Yeah. So one of the things that I really, I don't know if you guys have a knife that you bought that you hyped up and you were absolutely disappointed about. I can tell you, I have a few over time, and it's okay. It's not every knife I think is for everybody. I don't know about you guys. You hear a knife that everybody loves, and you get it, and you're like, it's not connecting with you as much as it connected with everybody else. And then sometimes you get a knife that connects really well with you, but it maybe not connect well with everybody else, or at least the people that you talk to. Um, I can tell you sometimes that can be because a knife is new and they don't have the kinks figured out yet. But I kind of experienced that with the Maverick, unfortunately. I really love the Maverick, the beautiful design, gorgeous, everything. I can't wait till they refine that and get it all fixed up, because then I think it's gonna be a fantastic knife. I just think it has a few things they need to get by. They need to figure out how to make the phosphor bronze washers work like Spyderco. I think if they can get that down and really figure those tolerances, I think it'll be a great knife. I'm not a fan of a slow roll knife. Now, if they're going for like a Spartan kind of version, then it's just not my cup of tea, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be my cup of tea, and some people will love it. I don't, I may not. So I really connected with the Boker Bad Guy. I love it. So the Boker Bad Guy, is that the name of a knife? Because the one I recently experienced was the Boker Plus Urban Trapper um, Premium in the JG10. It's a bigger knife. It was really cool. Everything about it was great. Just some things that to me, I should be able to take a knife apart. I should be able to put some Loctite on there to keep the pivot from moving. That should not be a major issue. And I think if you're gonna do a premium knife and charge as much as you are, you should have a captive pivot. I mean, that to me seems kind of crazy, right? Now, if you're gonna not do a captive pivot, do what some of these premium knives guys do, where they're not a captive pivot, but they lock in one of the pivots like with super glue or Loctite, what is it, 282 or 270 or 278 or whatever it's called, the one that you have to use heat to break it off to be able to open it. Do that, and that to me that's fine, but don't make it soft and moving around. All right, hey, Just Nate, putting the kids to bed, no problem. Hope they go to bed quickly for you. Let's see here. Okay, what is this? Oh, so I like S90V and S20CV. Now I don't know about S20V. I'm not sure about that one. I've not heard of that one. I've heard 20CV. I don't know if that's a different version. The ZT350. Okay, that's a cool knife. Yes, absolutely. Ahmed, did you get the DTF Timascus and Damasteel? Oh, okay. So you got that one. Okay. See, I wasn't sure. I mean, it looked beautiful. I actually had his 904 integral. I do have the little one of that one that you're talking about. Let me see. Oh, that's not it. Where did it go? I think I have it over here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so this one right here, the one Ahmed's talking about, is the DTF. I like it like this, right? But I wasn't sure if the Damasteel and the Timascus, how nice that would be. Is it is it the ability, the action on it that kind of bummed you out, or what? Hey Nate, no problem. Thanks for, again, like I said, go ahead and put the kids to bed. Yeah. So the S90V, I have noticed, and I can tell you, like you were saying, me with knives. For instance, when I will strop this S90V blade, it does take quite a bit more effort to strop this blade as opposed to, S35 VN steel or something like that. But it sure retains that edge really, really nicely. Yeah, so as far as edge retention. But I do know because it's a little harder, it's going to be chippier. So I wouldn't use this to like hammer with, which is probably what you've already said. But, okay, so it's The Bad Guy by Boker. Okay. Okay, the ZT566 was a letdown. I had the 562. That one I liked. The only problem I had with the 562, I had the carbon fiber version of that one, and what disappointed me on that one was it makes sense now that I heard this, that ZT doesn't always get great heat treat on some of their steels. They tend to be a little softer, because that when I was sharpening the edge on my ZT562, now mind you, I was learning how to sharpen. I scratched the heck out of the blade, but it was something that typically probably shouldn't really scratch a blade terribly, but it did. It had all these lines everywhere, and apparently it's, I guess, a known thing that sometimes their heat treat's not great. You're waiting on a Voodoo? What? You got a Voodoo? How did you get? Did you get the Voodoo on the drop? Every time I went over there, I'm gonna wait till hopefully he has more inventory where I actually have a chance, because I did that and I jumped in on a couple of the Voodoo Rockies and I couldn't get it. It made me really disappointed because I really wanted to try that one. The kit fin. Oh, is that the high fin you're talking about? Are you talking about the Wii high fin, the kite fin? Is that the high fin? So you were not happy with your high fin? Okay. I'm just trying to catch up on the comments here. I want to make sure I'm keeping up with everybody here. Yeah. See, that's what I heard about the ZT, by the way. So that's the thing about Timascus. It can be beautiful if it's done really nicely, but the problem is you can get a Timascus that's kind of boring, and then you can get the Timascus that's just absolutely stunning, and it's always a risk, and I suspect that the more you pay, the more costly it is. It's probably you get the more impactful Timascus, and that's probably what you're paying for. So you have a Radon, James. That's cool. Yeah, I try to get in on that one. Oh, the kite fin was the Wii model before the high fin. So was that also a Gavco design too? Because I love the high fin, by the way. I mean, so you probably have this one, right, that we're talking about here. This is my first Gavco experience, and because of that, I would be biased because I really like this knife. This really works well, and it's comfortable, and I love the hollow grind, and the action on this thing is just fantastic. I haven't used it in a while, and I probably need to put a little oil on there because I can tell it's not dropping as it normally does, because it's been in my case for a little bit. But yeah, I love this one. Man, you guys talking about the Radon makes me really, really. So it's not a Gavco. I got you. Yeah. So you both have a radon. I mean, that guy's a that's the kid who's like he was 18 or 20 when he designed that knife, right? Just amazing to have that ability to work the ergonomics so well. I just wish he would make a few more. You know, I wish I get it's a young business and it always takes money to buy more inventory, to sell more inventory, and it's a slow growth kind of thing. And I get it. I just wish it was, you know, sometimes when you have a knife that's super popular, it would be nice to, I don't know. I wish there was a few more out there. That's I'll just say that. So Ahmed, so it was cool, but the picture he had was not a Timascus. It's heavily adjusted. Okay, all right. Oh, so okay, the custom knife factory Evo 3.0. I actually looked at maybe pre-ordering that one. It looked really cool. I don't know anything about him. I haven't handled him. I've heard good things about him, and then when I see him on the secondary market, they are really expensive. So I don't know if that's expensive because it's really good. You know, like the Roosevelt, right? You can go in the secondary market and that thing's going to be up $200-300 most of the time. If they buy it and then they just immediately resell it, they can usually make money on it. I get that. It's kind of a bummer because that's one of those knives that I would carry and I would love to carry, but you just have to be lucky enough to get in the lottery and know when the lottery is happening and be at the right lottery where you can actually get in on the lottery. So I I just it just seems like a lot of effort to get there. But the Evo looks really cool. I do admit that it looks really cool. I haven't handled it. I would very much like to handle it and see how it goes. But you purchased one, your first one. Now, James, have you gotten it in yet, or is it something on the way? Because I'm very curious what your experience with it is and um, what the action's like. I mean, for instance, everything I heard about, like the Olamic, the Olamic Custom here, it was really fantastic, right? And a few more comments and a few more people talking about it really pushed me over the edge, and I was not disappointed. But it's one of those knives you can actually get a hold of. The Evo is one of those knives that's really hard to get a hold of. You know, the Peña Mula Stout was a disappointment. Oh, so now you have a Peña Mula. Now I don't know what a stout is. That sounds like a variant of. Is that a variant of? So I got this one at Crane's Cutlery, right? This is the Mula here, and it's not a stout, but it's got Damasteel on it. But I love this thing. Now, one thing I will tell you is I do tune my detents. I don't like a super strong detent. I don't like crazy like Lefty EDC. He loves strong detents, and I know if it's like super strong detent, I would have to tune it. If he feels like it's a little soft, then it's probably close to perfect for me, right? So I like this one, and I did tune it. So I don't know if that was your issue with your Mula. Yeah, I would love to handle a Rosie one day too. I really would. That's one of the reasons why I really need to go to a blade show. Just for the opportunity to hopefully touch one of these knives, just to get an idea. Is this really? Because in my mind, the topic tonight is: have you ever bought a knife that really disappointed you? Right? Some of these knives, I have a feeling that they won't disappoint me, and they're probably even better than I think. But I don't want to think about it like that because you know it's a knife that I'm not ready or able to get a hold of yet because they're just hard to find. Yeah, hey, if you haven't had a chance, man, maybe hit that like button. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Rocky. If you guys didn't get a chance to hit the like button, that would be super, super awesome. Thank you. Um, so the action is great, and you love the ergos. It's a tank. So you got one in secondary. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I think they had a pre-order for some of these recently, right? Now you can always get those all decked up, right? But the thing about it, when it's all decked out and everything, is sometimes when people buy those, they never carry them. I mean, which is fine. That's perfectly your choice. If you don't want to carry it and you want to just add it to your collection, dude, it's your money. You do whatever you want, right? I think such a beautiful knife like that, I would like to carry it. I really would. And if even if it had Damascus or Damasteel on there, I would legitimately like to carry it, you know, and that's just, I'm like, now, will I go and work on the yard with this knife? No, no, I won't. I will not work on the yard with this knife. And if I have it in my pocket, I'm in the yard, I will have a fifth pocket knife with me. Something that I can use, you know, to cut what I need to cut. I won't be using that, but I'd still like to carry it. You haven't bought a knife. Well, so I'm guessing, Rocky, that you probably also do a lot of good research and you probably have an idea what you're looking for and you don't just do an impulse buy, which is probably where I think my buying habits have gone to. And there's a few times that I was almost impulse bought, and because I've heard some great reviews and stuff like that, and I thought, oh, I got to get this. For instance, you know, we talked about the review, the unboxing I did today on that Boker. It is a great knife. All things aside, it is. Riot did a great job. I really, really like the knife. I just wish the screw on the pivot was done a little bit better. And if you don't mess with that, that knife will be outstanding for anybody who likes that knife. It's a thin, light gentleman carry knife. And aesthetic wise and action wise, I really did like it. Just to me, you know, when you spend that kind of money, you don't expect it to fail, right? And maybe I have a one-off, but I think it's a beautiful knife. So I wasn't disappointed in the quality and the craftsmanship, just like the Maverick. I love the Maverick was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Just some action wasn't quite there. And so, yeah, I haven't been disappointed. I was just disappointed in some functionality on it. And to me, that's that makes me want to carry it or not carry it. And so if I don't want to carry it, then I won't keep it in my collection. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Rocky. That's probably the best thing. Spend a lot of time researching, and definitely, man. James, I think you're. Uh, oh, a Brian Brown Jaeger. Oh, that's one of those too. I hope Brian Brown releases some more of those Jaegers. I really wanted to get one of those. I had his what is it? The Raptor version 2. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, the Raptor. I liked it a lot, but I like the Trogon more. I know, even though the other one was Riot, I just didn't like the single method deployment, and to me that was, and the handle was a little thinny, a little skinny, thinny. Golly, it was a little thin and skinny, and so it was hard to grip. But I still liked it. I mean, it was a really strong knife and everything. I just think I liked the Trogon more, and I realized I wasn't carrying it a whole lot. But I really, really would like to get a Jaeger. I hope he does drop some more of those. Yeah, I do the same too. But you know, then sometimes you can do all that research, but then you can buy a knife that hasn't gotten all the reviews yet. Like for instance, to be quite honest, there's not a whole lot of videos. I mean, there's videos out there, but there's not a ton of videos on the version 2 of the bolster lock. There's a lot of talking about this one in the version 1. And so I took the plunge based on people talking, and I'm glad I did. I'm not disappointed. So for me, that was one of those things where sometimes you can also do that. Oh, so you only can get the black titanium one. Now, is that one of the limited editions ones, just Nate? Yeah, Electric Buzz. I do watch every YouTube video, like what we just said. Like I said, I do that, but sometimes I just take the risk on it. The QSP Hot Copper Carbon Fiber Damascus detent is super duper weak, and the blade is way off center, but the ergos and looks are good. So if you have that one, Ahmed, are you willing to take it apart and maybe tighten up your detent? Do you know how to do that? It's the exact opposite of one of the videos when I show you how to loosen the detent. And matter of fact, you don't have to take off the steel bar insert and the over travel stop, which is usually one and the same, right? You can actually bend it in. You just have to take the scale off to do that, and just be gentle. That can increase that. And then centering, there's tricks you can do with paper to center that as well. And sometimes, you know, if it's got washers, you can get skiff washers, because sometimes the washers aren't always perfectly centered. And if you get a really nice set of washers and you can replace them, that'll help with the centering too. Oh, the version 3 is coming? That is cool. So Medford is one of those knives. Um, I really, really, they look cool, but I've only heard of one Medford that I think I might like because they look overbuilt. They look really, really big. And you know, if you like overbuilt giant knives, I'm all for that. And that's cool. It's just not quite my cup of tea, my aesthetic at this point, right? Because it's not a knife that I think I would typically carry. So Medford seems like almost too big for me. There's that little one that's built on the tank. I forget which one it is. It's sort of a thin gentleman looking one. But then when I see what the steel's made out of, I get a little disappointed with it, right? And for the cost and everything. And then I've also heard their steel is not always great. So there's that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Man, I'm excited about that one, James Dean, with the Jaeger 3. I'm gonna have to go look around for that. Do you know, is that gonna be released directly through Brian Brown, or is he going through distributors? I mean, it's gonna be like everywhere. Where do you? I'd like to find some more notes about that because I'd love to find a drop. Okay, so you're planning to do a little work on the E10. Good. You have to let me know how that works out. Oh, it has a new triangle pivot. That's interesting. Yeah, I do save some of my videos for sure. You know, and I don't know if you know Rocky. Yeah, I, Rocky, I'll just tell you, I probably won't disagree with you on that. Who is the other guy? There's another knife. It's a new American manufacturer that came out. This is how much of an impression they've made on me. I can't remember their name, but they were really popular. But they're made by Medford as well. And I thought for attention to detail. If you've heard of those guys, those are actually made by Medford, I'm told. And I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. And then people who have them, they I guess they have sort of the same feel about them as they do about Medford. So we'll just leave it at that. Now, if you're a Medford fan, don't let that stop you from enjoying a knife, because there's some knives I like that I'm sure you guys probably couldn't stand, and that's fine. You know, we we don't have to like every knife that everybody else likes, right? And if you didn't know, you probably all know this, but if you didn't know, you are free to get the knives you enjoy, and you don't have to buy a knife that everyone says that you should get. I've actually learned that lesson a long time ago. That's why a lot of my stuff has shifted in my collection over the years. Oh, is Nate? Hey, Mind of Milton, welcome. Good evening to you, sir. I appreciate that, Ahmed. I would like to see her. I'd like to hear how that goes for you. Yeah, definitely don't plan on getting a Medford politics aside. Um, I, you know, um, probably some of us like him, some of us don't, but I do. I enjoy watching Metal Complex. I enjoy Neves Knives. I enjoy a lot of the Stas. Oh, I went brain dead. Stasis 23, right? So I enjoy watching a lot of those guys. But Metal Complex doesn't have a lot of Medfords. He has the Slim something, one of the Slim versions, and that's one of the ones he likes. And I can understand that because if you're going to get a Medford, it would have to be a really slim one. But he also buys knives for his collection because he just likes to have some knives in his collection. He may never carry them, and so that's where I'm at my journey right now. We're a little different. Everything I own, I want to carry. So, and I don't know if I would carry a Medford. It's just it's a giant, big thing. Like it's like the not the Bradford. What's the other one? The guy with the Curtis Customs with their big giant pivot. I remember I handled one of those, and it was really cool, and it looked kind of cool. And I was trying to flip it. The action wasn't what I had hoped it would be. And I was really disappointed because I couldn't reverse flick it, even though it had a fuller for a reverse flick, and I thought that was weird. So, Milton, yeah, you must buy an Olamic though. I have one. I have one. Tools for gents if you want overbuilt. Yeah, absolutely. Some of those knives, oh my gosh, they are brick. Now, if I had an office where I could just have paperweights, one of those tools for gents knives would be an awesome paperweight just to have. I mean, honestly, that would be the perfect paperweight. A knife that weighs a half a pound, or even one of those that weighs a full pound, that would be a cool paperweight. It wouldn't be something I'd carry, but I would love to have it in my office on top of papers. If you guys haven't checked out Tools for Gents, I believe they're out of Germany, and they have a lot of cool knives that they get made for them. Some of them are, I believe, made from Riot, and some of them are, I think there's some Bestech, but some of them are also, you know, made. I think there's a couple of them that are made in the USA as well, if I'm not mistaken. If I recall, again, it's one of those knives, genre of knives that I don't collect and pay close attention to because it's not a knife that it's in my collection, so I'm not going to know as much details probably as some of you guys are. Hey, good evening, Tyler. Welcome. And just to let you know, Tyler, I did get your package. I haven't had a chance to undo the unboxing, but I'm looking really forward to it, so thank you. Super excited about that. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, I had a post. If anybody hasn't heard, I have a post where I had some knives that I would really love to review, and if anybody wanted to help the channel out by maybe loaning a knife or something, I would be super grateful and I would be honored to do so. And a couple of folks have done that, and I'm really thankful for you guys. And so I've got one that's I'm going to be unboxing here shortly, and so I'm really appreciative of that because there's some knives that I probably not sure if I would buy until I actually handled it. And the fact that some of you guys have them and you would be willing to allow me just to at least handle them. And what I do is I would, I'm going to unbox them and I just use them on my desk. I'm not going to carry them. I'm not going to use them. I'm not going to take them apart or anything like that. So just want to let you know that. So your Nimble X, the 3.5. Okay, so, I actually had two Nimble X's, I will tell you, right? The first one was really bad. The second one was better, but by the time I got the second one, I already knew that if I returned it, they were going to take a certain amount off and I'd have to pay for the shipping back, so I would lose a significant amount of money. And I felt like the amount of content that I could get out of that knife and then reselling it at some point would be a better deal for me. And so that's why I kept it. It's not a terrible knife. The second one that I got, I will tell you, James. The second one was, okay. And I will be reprofiling the edge on that one because it does have a longer edge on one side than the other. The edge wasn't very even. Now, James, assume you have the Relative. I'm pretty sure, I thought I remember you saying the Relative is made by Bestech, and I will tell you, this is, in my opinion, the best knife EMP by EDC has. This is absolutely the best. And something that I hadn't done yet, I actually put skiff washers in this one. And I got to tell you, this knife was already outstanding, but with skiff washers, there is not a single grind anymore. I mean, not that it ground like it was terrible, but you could hear the detent ball, and it wasn't buttery smooth. Now it is absolutely buttery smooth, and just, let's see if I can get it. It usually just will shut all by itself, and just phenomenal. And I did tune it a little bit because it was a little strong for a front flipper. Now, if you like strong detents, this would have been perfect for anybody with a strong detent, but when I have a front flipper, I want to be able to flip that comfortably. I don't want it to rip off my skin and tear it apart just because I got to get pushed so hard on there. I feel like I should be able to even use my forefinger just to do a regular flip like that. That shouldn't be a big deal. So I tuned it, and it was a very, very slight tuning, very, very slight. But with the skiff washers, this one I love. This is absolutely their best knife ever. Man, to the point that when the LMAX comes out with the drop point, I've seriously considered when he has a drop of those, I've seriously considered that would be my second EMP EDC. And I said I'd never get one of the same knife, so it would have to be radically different in aesthetics. Maybe I'd even get something again I said I wouldn't get. Maybe I might even get the Zircotai and try that. I don't know. Just because this is really, I carry this knife a lot. I and I don't know the thing about it. I don't know about you, James, but it just has such a nice. I love the strong reverse flick and the detent. I don't know if you can hear it. It's probably can't hear it really well here. It's just a very pleasing lockup. I don't know. I enjoy that. 1 minute knife review. Hello, welcome. How are you tonight? Appreciate you jumping on the live. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. Skiffs, washers in certain circumstances are an absolute truth. There's no doubt about that. There's only a couple of knives that I've ever not needed skiffs in, or where I actually put skiffs in, and it made zero difference. I will tell you one of them that did that is my Leon Ma, my GSD. Oops. This one right here, the skiffs actually, I felt like the action was almost a little bit better without the skiffs. Not that it was bad. I mean, it wasn't gritty or anything. It was just the ability for me to reverse flick it very smoothly and how it worked was a little better without the skiffs. And I don't know if it's because the skiffs were just a hair bigger and they were a little smaller, but the skiffs, I gained nothing by putting skiffs in this one. And so I took them out. And yeah, and that was one of the very, very few where it really did make a difference. Very few. Oh, you're back from the store, me with knives. Did you get a knife? Just kidding. Probably the grocery store. But if you got a knife, that'd be cool. We don't have a lot of knife stores here in Waco. We have a few, but you know, it's like little Benchmade and ZTs, basic. You know, you have Cabela's, but we don't have like a House of Blades like there's in Dallas, or the Blade Bar that's up in Dallas as well. Those are fun. I like to go to those stores. Yeah, everybody, if you haven't had a chance, check out 1 Minute Knife Reviews. Definitely give him a, if you can, I would really appreciate if you guys maybe give him a follow and check out some of his videos and take a look and give him some likes. If you go and follow him, just make sure you watch the video, at least the full video, because YouTube sometimes will go in and take those follows away if you don't actually watch some content. They kind of remove them. They think they're kind of inflated followers, and they don't think that it's really legit, like you want to follow them. So if you do, go follow him. Just go watch some of his videos, by all means. You know, it's some good stuff. I follow him and I watch his stuff regularly. So yeah, so 1 Minute Knife Review. Are you in Texas also? Or are you, because I really like the Blade Bar. There's two Blade Bar stores up in Fort Worth, Dallas area. And then the House of Blades is really cool too. And I think, is it Everyday Minimalist? I believe he's in Texas too. And the House of Blades is a big sponsor of him. And I know they were at the Texas Blade Show. So that's really cool. I didn't know he was from Texas. I thought that was cool. Hey, you're welcome. 1 Minute Knife Review. Appreciate, you know, I love the knife community. You know, it's just a lot of great people out there and so many different people. You know, if you can find something that you like if you just go looking around. I mean, there's just a lot of wonderful content out there. And but to me, what I really like about it, it's real content. It's not just about everybody I know in the knife community. They're genuine. You know, what you see is what you get. They're not trying to overinflate it. I mean, granted, some of the guys are great at their production. You know, you look at Tri-State, Everyday Minimalist, those guys, Everyday City Carry. Their production skills are top notch. They really are. And I would love to get to there. And I need more equipment and some more money to get there. You know, maybe one day when the channel grows, that'll be the next thing I can expand to. But those guys, you know, their production skills are phenomenal, and I tip my hats to them. But they are still genuine people like everybody else, and I love that. And that's what, to me, I appreciate about the knife community. You know, we can talk knives and experience that, and appreciate what someone else appreciates, and even if we don't appreciate it, right? it's a matter of respect. I think there's just a real good sense of respect of people's, you know, likes and dislikes of knives, you know, and people can articulate, they can tell you why they like a knife or why they don't like a knife. And at least in the knife community, I found that if someone doesn't care for something, you know, they'll tell you what they don't care about. Now you do have the trolls, right? Every once in a while we have people who come in and they'll be like, "Oh, I'd never spent $300 on that knife," or "That's a stupid knife," or whatever. You know, that happens. There's nothing you can do about that. Um, and some people are very passionate. You know, you're going to have those guys who are like, all you need is a buck 110. That's the only knife anybody ever needs, right? You know, I've got my father-in-law is like, all he needs is a little Swiss Army knife. I bought him even a little Benchmade mini bug out because I thought maybe he might carry that. He uses it, I think, on his desk, which is cool. I mean, I'm glad he uses it on his desk, and he probably opens some envelopes with it. But he's not a folding knife kind of guy. But he likes his little, you know, slip joints. Oh, you were in Dallas a couple of weeks ago? Oh, South Texas. Oh, are you down like, are we talking San Antonio? Or are we talking down in the Rio Grande Valley? Are we talking Laredo? Are we talking Brownsville, Harlingen? Because I actually grew up in Harlingen, Texas. I was a Los Cardinals, if you remember them, if you're that far south. Um, I played for the Harlingen Cardinals. And if anybody knows that, people used to call South Texas. Yeah, they had a nickname for it, and I won't say what it is because I like the South Texas. It's, you know, I went to school there. It's a different part of Texas, and I have to admit it was the best Tex-Mex food there is anywhere. But that's my personal opinion. McAllen area. Okay, I lived in McAllen for a while when I went to UT Pan Am. I actually went to University of Texas Pan American down there, one of the UT extension schools for a while, before I transferred up to UT Austin. So that's cool. Oh, you want to build a guitar with no? Oh, that would be so cool. That really, you know, I bet you, you know who would do that for you? Probably Martin Guitars. I could see Martin doing that. If you wanted, if you had enough money and you want, they would do that. They would. I would love to see that. Now, what knives would you put on that guitar, though? I mean, would it be pictures of the guitar that's, you know, put in by abalone and you know, designed and etched, or would it be actual some knives in the actual design of the guitar, like on the bridge or maybe in the neck or something? No, Amarillo isn't close to Dallas. Yeah, uh, Amarillo is a little. That's up in the Panhandle. I had an old friend of mine who lives up there, but it's a good drive. Going up to Amarillo, it'd be easier for me to go to Louisiana or Tennessee than it would be to go to Amarillo from where I'm at. Or I think it's about the same distance. Even Oklahoma is about the same distance, I think. Buy him a Jack Wolf knife. I think one of the boxes that's coming in is going to actually have a sample of the Jack Wolf knives. I'm really looking forward to trying that. That's one of those that I was always on the cusp of because I'm not a slip joint guy. But man, you know, if there's a knife that would put me over the edge to try a slip joint, it would be Jack Wolf. That is one of those things that I was doggedly anti slip joint for years. And I don't know what Jack Wolf is doing, but his stuff is like changing my mind on this stuff. And I'm pretty afraid that when I open that box, well, I'm not afraid, but you know what? I'm pretty sure when I open that box, he is going to open another dimension of my collection at some point. And that's I'm both worried and I'm both excited. So there's that. Hey, Legendary Pest Control, we're just chit chatting, talking about knives. Welcome. We've been talking about, so the topic for tonight really is, if anybody wants to talk about it, is what knife let you down after the hype. And it could be the hype of, you know, what you thought it was. It could be the hype of all the reviews. It could be the hype of the pre-order. It could be the hype of all the discussion. It could be the hype of everything that you thought it would be, and then you hyped it up too much yourself, and then you were let down. That's what we're kind of talking about. But then we're also just talking about, you know, what's everybody carrying this week, and what's everybody Any knives that anybody's been really looking forward to? A couple of things that I heard about is the Brian Brown. Why am I saying Maverick? It's not the Brian Brown. Oh, trying to remember it. Sorry, the Brian Brown. The one that I missed the drop on is the 3 version, not the we talked about the custom knife factory works, or not custom knife factory Evo 3.0. That was interesting. And I'm trying to figure out if I can find that Christian. I need to write that down, because that's a knife I really want to check out when I heard that it was a version 3 coming out. Well, hopefully somebody can remind me, because we've been talking so many. Jaeger, yes, thank you, the Jaeger. Jaeger version 3 is coming out. Oh, so, here's the thing about buck knives. I don't know if you know, there's a really good story. If you ever watch Zane he used to be on Blade HQ, and he now has his own channel. Really, really great channel if you haven't checked him out. He's so entertaining. But he talked about the history of the buck knives. It was made by a pastor in his basement, and the Buck 110 really is a knife that most ranchers would use to castrate their steer. I mean, that's really what it was for, right? So that's what primarily the knife was. But it, in its time, in its place, I think it had a job, and it did it well for what it was meant to do. And Buck is trying to do a resurgence. They are trying to come out with a whole bunch of new designs, and they do. They have a whole bunch of new designs coming out that is really a stretch for them, and still trying to keep true to Buck. I don't know if I haven't been willing to try it yet. When I hear more and more people say, yeah, this is good, then I may give it a try, right? It's one of those that the aesthetic doesn't quite speak to me. There's a couple of them that are not, I don't hate. Let's put it that way. Because some of them I think are just, I think they're ugly. But some of them are not bad looking. So they're trying. MKA knives, okay, they used M390. So we were talking a little bit about the Jack Wolf knives. So if you like buck and you like a slip joint, Jack Wolf is definitely, I would say, a modernized version, a way better version of that. And it's one of those that I've been avoiding for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm afraid I'm going to really love it, and it's going to open, it's going to make me want to get more than I should. But two, it's a little more expensive. So it's a kind of a risk knife to try if I don't have a sample to kind of handle. And I'll tell you, when I get a chance to open the package that the one of the subscribers let me borrow, matter of fact that he's here tonight, is that I will give you my honest impression, which I'm it's one of those things. I don't want to be what the topic is tonight. I don't want that knife to let me down by overhyping it. I'm trying to underhype it because it's a slip joint. I keep telling myself it's a slip joint, you're going to hate it. It's a slip joint, you're going to hate it. And I'm worried I'm not, honestly. So that's my worry. But I suspect I'm not going to hate it. I'm not hyping it, but I'm being realistic that I might like it more than I might care to like it, I think. So there we go. They always use a Buck 110. Well, hey, have you seen I don't know if it's called a Buck 110, but there's the auto version of the 110, and I think it's a different number. But there's the auto version. That's kind of interesting, The MK knives. Okay, so MK knives, I haven't bought any of them. Some of them look really beautiful. Okay, they just, the design is really aesthetically pleasing to me. But I hear the same thing that I hear about MKM, that I hear about Lion Steel, because I believe they're made in this sort of a group factory. And same thing I hear about like the Giant Mouse. I had a couple of Giant Mouse, and I was very disappointed with them. I had the Sonora, and the thing that really bothered me about the Giant Mouse, and this is just my personal aesthetic, is I don't like getting a knife where the pocket clip or the lanyard hole is a sharp edge that digs into my hand. And after a while, when I'm flipping it, if if it's digging in, and after a while I start getting a little blister here because all I'm doing is holding the knife and I'm flicking it, that to me is that's a deal breaker. And that's what happened with the Sonora one. I couldn't believe how sharp that lanyard hole was. And then every giant mouse that I liked looking at, I noticed it had that same sharp. And so I just said, no, I'm done. So I don't know about you guys, but that was my deal breaker for me. Show me a Bowie grip. So me with knives, you have a buck one. Do you still have your buck 110? I'm kind of curious. Hey, happy knife. Welcome. Welcome this evening. Appreciate you being here. Ah, yeah, I know New York can't carry autos. Now I'm curious because I know that Everyday City Minimalist or Everyday City Carry, I believe, he has autos, but I'm sure you can own them in your house. You're just not allowed to carry them outside of your house, which is I know some, which is true for other states. There's a few states where I think they're just illegal to own, period. But I think in some states you can own them, you just can't carry them. Yeah, the Buck 110 Auto. Is it called a 110 Auto? I wasn't sure if it was. Oh, okay, so there's a 112 Auto. See, I thought it was a different number. Maybe the one I was thinking is the 112 Auto, like you were saying, 1 minute knife review. And maybe there is a 110 Auto, and I just thought the 112 was the auto version of the 110, and there's actually two variants of that. So I didn't know that. Again, I don't own buck knives, and I don't know much about the buck knives because it's not a knife that is in my collection. I'm going to talk about the things that I enjoy and the aesthetics that I like, and the buck is not one of those that really jumps out at me. Yeah, so the Maniajo knife makers, and I thought the MKM was. They also work with Lion Steel and they also work with Giant Mouse. I thought it was like a little conglomerate. Sometimes they do things together, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but so they never have to know. They never have to know. That sounds like that commercial. They never have to know, right? That's hilarious. Yeah. That's almost like that little of Rob's ramblings where I was talking about, the knives that you don't tell your spouse, your family, right? The little secret knives, that you don't. You're like, oh no, I've had that. I've had that for a month or a year. It's been in my collection. Sure, you just haven't seen it, right? Oh, how it should be configured, right? Oh, because you're handling them in the stores, yeah. See, and that's the thing. So, like, I've owned we talked about this before. I've owned a Hinder Jurassic, loved it, but it just wasn't for me. It didn't fit well. But I handled a Maximus, and that's one of those knives where I was like, that works because I got to hold it in the store. I'd just like more of that opportunity to hold some of these other knives, and either get into the store or some of the retailers allowing me to borrow them, but then even the subscribers let me borrow their knives. I'm super excited about that. So more unboxing and reviews coming for sure. Okay, MKM is Lion Steel and others. So they're all part of the, okay, so it's like just a different brand of them. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So I really do like the looks of the Lion Steel knives. I mean, that was a knife that was one of the really first expensive knives I really wanted to buy. And I just never pulled the trigger. And then when I started reading the reviews, like Rocky and Dave, like you were saying, that I started reading them all just because I wanted to get the feel. And I started finding out that, their heat treats aren't great. And I'd already learned my heat treat from my ZT562. I was really disappointed with that. And I've had a few with really weak heat treats where, you when you sharpen them, the edges roll, but they don't. And when you strop them, that burr doesn't break off. It just rolls back and forth because it's so soft, and that's a bummer. It makes it very frustrating because you feel like you can never really sharpen it. Have I reviewed the Montiago? No, I have not. I don't know. I don't. Is that an MKM one, the Montiago? Let me take a look. Montiago. Okay, I don't. I did a search in Blade HQ for Montiago. Is Montiago is Montiago de Mangiano? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, I thought you were talking about the knife. Okay. So I've so the 562, I've seen people with really great experience in the 562, like the titanium versions and stuff. My 562 carbon fiber just was really soft, which I heard is not unusual. But I've also heard people had really great experiences. The 562 is the one that got them into other knives, and it honestly it's what broke me away from Benchmade only when I was in Benchmade only mode. Excuse me, I'm getting a drink here, but. But that's the thing, it's I feel like you shouldn't always have to, roll the dice and take a chance. Excuse me. Oh, okay, so that's where it's a Managiano. Boy, say that 10 times quickly. I feel like you should. Feels like that would be a good name of an Italian restaurant, though. I will say, MKM and Line Steel, their knives are beautiful. They definitely have a beautiful aesthetics, kind of like the Lamborghini, right? There's beautiful lines and design to it. I want it to work, and I want it to be comfortable. Like I could never drive a Lamborghini only because I have the upper body of a 6'5" guy and the legs of a 5'5" guy, and I'm 6 feet, but my upper body is very long and my legs are kind of short, and so, which was great when I played football in high school and college, right? But it doesn't bode well for me sitting in cars with low roofs. I usually like to have cars with high overhead clearance. That's cool. Yeah, so I don't know if you're 562, you've had like no issues whatsoever with it. I was kind of curious. That would be happy knife payments. Yeah, I'm catching up here because we had a bunch of comments here. I want to make sure. Yeah, the whippersnapper is so. I will tell you with the whippersnapper, there is Sezzle. If you have ever considered it, you can do Sezzle and payments, and they'll allow you to do 12 months or 24 months. That's something to consider. Something you might be interested. Oh, you might be selling your shaman with the zirconium scales. Maybe. I assume, Rocky, that you're selling that because maybe you're looking at something else. I like my shaman now. I think you have two shamans, so you're only getting rid of one, right? If I had two, I definitely, I probably would sell one myself. But if I like I like my shaman as a user knife. I really do. This is a user knife for me, and so that's why I really enjoy this one. And it is with the scales and everything, it's a little more expensive than a typical user knife, but it's also, this one here is an Elmax, and so this one, yeah, it's still got stuff all over it. It's definitely one that works well for that. Sezzle or PayPal, right? Yeah, so I have used the PayPal where you can defer the payments, right? You can finance it for like 6 months or whatever in zero interest, and so you just pay it off in 6 months. That's nice. I've done that with a few nicer knives. And let's see here. Wait, I've done that with a few other knives. We'll just say, you know, something like this right here. And that's allowed me to add a couple of these. Definitely recommend them. But again, so for me, excuse me, for me, every knife I own, I carry, and that's my choice. So just so you know, I mean, if I anything that's in my collection here, I'm going to carry, right? The one exception is my Safe Queen, which is my dad's knife. That was he bought before World War II. It's the only one I won't, that's a Safe Queen. So I do technically have one Safe Queen. So you sold your Shaman? Yeah, okay. So it is a bigger knife. So I think this one works well for medium to medium large hands, or large hands, right? This is a great knife. It works really, really well for extra large to double extra large to even triple extra large hands. But for me, for extra large hands, this works really nicely. When you get down to medium and thinner, so I got large hands from widthwise, but fingers are medium because they're short, but my large hands from widthwise. And so this one works well for me. It is definitely on the larger side. This is up there, just like this one, the Exciton. It is a much bigger knife. Now I get a full grip here like this. If I choke up, I mean, there's a ton of room. So this is definitely a triple extra large. But like you said, much bigger than this, and that's almost too much for me. I felt like that with the Umnumzaan a little bit. The Umnumzaan was rather large, at least the way it worked for me. And the liner lock that it had on it was really, the frame lock that it had on there, it was really hard to get to and it was really sharp. And I couldn't adjust it. It was just way too hard. So eventually I got rid of the Umnumzaan, but that was almost too big for me on that one as well. So I understand. My Annex, the Microtech Annex, beautiful knife. Love that knife. I think if it was just a bit smaller, that would have been a great knife to keep, but it was way too big. And Bearded Doom ended up buying that one for me. So I was happy to be able to sell that to him, and I think he really enjoys that one. And that's more his size knife for him. So I agree with you on size. I think I'm definitely, and I think some of you guys can relate, but I think my range of style, but perfect range of knife is 7 to 8 inches. Something that's just around, maybe around 7 and, up to 8, maybe a little over, a little bit under. I'm okay with that. This one's a little bit under, but choking up, this works really nicely. And I can still get full 4 grips on this like this. So this one works. It's just a little bit under. This is a little bit under as well, but I can get a full grip on this. And this is more of a gentleman carry for me. This is definitely something I would carry in a dress pants or a suit or something like that, right? Oops, gotta get under here. So this one it's definitely a little smaller, I will say. And it's when I want to carry a smaller knife, since I haven't carried this in a while, I always forget. I have to hold this one a little bit lower, and you've got to clear that the flipper here that actually engages back here. So, anyways, but that's for me. I don't know about you guys. The Manix 2. That is one of those two that I really want to. I've come real close to maybe consider buying as well. Oh, you have a William Henry? Really? Wow. Now I've handled William Henry, and that is really a beautiful knife. I will say it is a knife that I think I could, if I was if I was an oil tycoon or I was, an executive working in my office in downtown Dallas or downtown Fort Worth or something, a William Henry would be one of those knives that I feel like every executive should carry. It's really beautiful. And you can spend 600 all the way up to 6,000, right? And even more. And some of his designs, he uses some crazy Chad Nichols Damascus steel, or not, Damascus steel. Uses some abalone and pearl inlays and 18 karat gold and platinum and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's a beautiful knife, and they work. Now they're a little more delicate. They're not anything I would ever hard use. But if I had an executive office, I would definitely be using it to open up my envelopes or something for sure. Absolutely. Beautiful knife. It would be kind of like, going in there and opening up your envelopes with something like that, right? Yeah, it's Umnumzaan. It's 2 A's at the end, so it's Umnumzaan. That's the actual spelling of it. I would say I liked it more than the Sebenza for sure because of the thumb studs. But that's the whole thing about Chris Reeve knives. The Sebenza thumb stud is one of those things that most everybody wants to replace because they don't have a volcano. It's like a peak. and it's sometimes uncomfortable. Now the Umnumzon was more comfortable, and I did use the little 6mm O-rings to put on there, and that worked out really nicely. But the reverse flick wasn't as easy, and again, that frame lock with the detent ball is the lockup. What they do is, I don't know if you can see, that's here. So what they do on theirs is there's a detent ball that's actually on the inside of the frame lock. And so here's the tip of the frame lock. So you have what do you call a steel bar insert and an over travel stop. It's usually one piece here. They just have a ceramic ball that's put in there that actually engages on the tang of the blade, and then it's also the detent ball that goes over the blade and then goes into the detent hole. So it's like a 3-in-1 kind of functionality, which, part of me worries that if you have enough impact, will that knock out the detent ball out of the frame lock? I don't know. That being said, because it's in there like that, and I can't remove it, and it literally blocks up there. I couldn't adjust the frame to loosen up the detent. The detent was just way too tight for me. It was really uncomfortable, and to me it got to the point I just didn't carry it. I'd carry it, I'd flip it a few times, and my fingers would hurt. And so, but I love the look at it. It was a beautifully aggressive, gorgeous look. I mean, if you could do that knife a little smaller, maybe a traditional Cage ceramic ball bearings, easier frame lock, man, that knife, it would be money. It would be, I would own it. It would still be in my collection. It's just, if it hurts me to carry and it becomes uncomfortable, and I'm going to stop carrying it, then I don't like having my collection because I can't enjoy it, right? The 560 is a bigger one? Okay, yeah. So you like the native or the sage? Okay. I can understand that. For me, what pulled me in for me was the Shaman was the contoured scales, the roundness. It was the most comfortable. As soon as I put this in my hand, I immediately loved the feel of it. It's like, if they could do that, now you can. And like I said, RG Custom Works, he's going to be doing the titanium scales. I'm on his waiting list. This will be a contoured scale, and it will be contoured on the edges. I think it'll make this knife so much. I mean, I will probably end up carrying this knife ridiculous amounts once I get that and put that on here. I think that's the same. I mean, it's the other one that I'm really seriously considering, and you probably guys, if I can find it, here it is. I really want to get the titanium scales for the TRM, and they have a new pattern, a diamond pattern that came out. And again, that would make this knife very different. Again, not that this knife is not bad or anything now, but something like that. I think if the Umnumzon changed a few of those things, that knife would be even more popular. Now, some people would never buy it, but maybe call it the non-Numazon. I don't know, just change the name or something, but have a different variant. That would be cool. Oh, you have a Manix too with copper scales? It's a tank. I bet. Yeah, copper scales are going to add weight and make it a robust knife no matter what. If nothing else, even if you can't get the blade out with the copper scales, if it's heavy enough, it could be a projectile to save your life, or it could be something you could use as a weapon to knock someone out if you had to. Those copper scales are no joke. They mean business. So you prefer the sheep's foot. Yeah. I think, like Rocky, he has a sheep's foot as well. I like the Wharncliffe personally. I like the little slender look of the Wharncliffe. I can see the sheep's foot benefit because it's a bigger, slicier blade. Definitely see a lot of benefit in that. And do I have one that's, yeah, like for instance, this has a much bigger belly of a blade, right? And so there's a little benefit with that. And this is not as big as the belly of a blade. What would be something that would have it? Yeah, okay, so this one has a bigger belly of a blade. And so seeing that compared to the Wharncliffe, so if you're wanting to make it a pure slicer, yeah, there's benefit there. But if you want it to be more of a discreet kind of a, you know, purposeful pinpoint type of tool, I don't know, Wharncliffe is another option. This aesthetic speaks more to me than the sheep's foot. So for me, that's it. And the cool thing is, they'll make this with the sheep's foot. So if you like the sheep's foot, there you go. You can get that. You know, you don't have to be limited to this, because when I was looking at this, there was this option of Wharncliffe or sheep's foot, and I chose the Wharncliffe for myself. Oh, you got a Manix 2 in the mail. Now, real quick, Beaver Baron, is that a Manix 2 XL or just a regular Manix 2? And anybody here who has a Manix 2, and if you also have a Manix 2 XL, what is the difference? In your personal opinion, what do you like more about the XL, or what do you like more about the non-XL? I would really be curious to hear that, because that's something that I've been considering and looking at and been very interested in. I wasn't really sure which way I was leaning yet, so I was kind of curious if any of you guys have already made that kind of discovery yourself. Oh, so Matt, you've got the TI scales on there. Did you get the diamond ones, or did you get the lined ones, the ones they've had for a while? Because the new diamond ones look really amazing, and I know they're a little more. It's like an extra $20, but that seems reasonable for the extra milling that they have to do. Yeah, so the blade geometry is better in a sheep's foot. So yeah, I can see that. I mean, if you're looking to be a slicer, it's definitely going to have a thinner, coming down to a thinner edge. I get that. But I will tell you, the Wharncliffe comes to a ridiculously thin edge down here. For as thick as that stock is right there, it does come to a relatively thin edge, and that edge is not a short edge. It's a decent edge, and I'll tell you, this thing slices like crazy. Of course, it's S90V, so yeah, it's gonna slice really well once you strop it up and get it nice and sharp for sure. Oh, you got to go to kiddos. Hey, no problem, Rocky man. It's great to talk to you. Thanks so much. Y'all take care and have a great night, and have fun putting your kids to bed. Matt, the diamond scales, that's really cool. Now, one question I have for you about the diamond scales. Is it very grippy in the sense that, does it feel like it's going to rip your pant pocket with the clip on there? Or does it slide in and out? Is it that kind of smooth geometry like so what I really liked about the Pulsar from Kunwu, which has the diamond texture, is it's a kind of a linear diamond texture. It doesn't, when I put this, it doesn't rip my pant pocket up. It actually goes in and out really smoothly. Is that the case that you find on the TRM? I was kind of curious about that. All right, Rocky, will do. Will do. I will definitely reach out. Thank you. More steel and scale options for the Shaman over the K320. Yeah, yeah. So the Hogue knives, I've heard really great things about them too, for sure. The Manix XL is just roided up version. If you like big blades, it's your horse. Okay, I got you. Now, the Manix 2 XL is, are we talking like a 9-inch knife, or and the just the regular Manix 2 is like what, 7.5 kind of inch knife? I haven't looked and compared the two. I was just kind of curious, because I thought when I read every time I saw a Manix available, it was always the XL. And when I remember looking at the specs, I thought, man, that is just a big knife. I don't know, and I would always pass, because I remember looking at the scales, the specs, and thinking it was just way too big. So I was kind of curious. The regular Manix, I mean, is it the? We're not talking like Para 3. We're talking like maybe in between a Para 3 and a Paramilitary 2 kind of size. Is that what we're looking at? Maybe. So the K320, doesn't the K320 come in auto and also in manual as well, or are they all auto? Hey, Brandon Sutton. I don't know if we said hello to you yet. It looks like you just popped in, and I want to say hello to you back. Hey, Happy Knife, did I answer your question about the Unumzan? I hope I did. Oh, that's funny. I'm just reading the different comments. Okay, so you've heard lots of good things about the Hogue. All right, that's cool. All right, so um, has anyone has anyone else gotten the Chavez 229? I know there's at least one person who was supposed to get theirs today, but it was delayed. I was curious. Okay, it's just short of 9 inches. That's why. Okay, thank you, me with knives. I was worried about that. That's I thought it was too big. So it seems like if just the Manix 2 would be the size I would want to get. Now, did they make the Manix 2 non-XL with G10 scales, and do they have like custom scales like you can get, from Fat Carbon and stuff like that as well? I assume yes. And if they do, what have you put any of those scales on there? And what are what's your favorite set of scales if you have? Okay, so the K320. So that's the K320A, right? That's the auto, and if it's just K320, it's just a manual. Because I remember seeing K320A and K320, so I'm assuming that's the difference. But it does look like a really nice knife. The one that I liked was the carbon fiber version, and Hogue is supposed to do a really good job of the heat treat. I mean, they really, like their MagnaCut is supposed to be heat treated really well. I've heard their 20CV is heat treated really well. Like the Doug Ritter MKS or whatever that one. I own that one. I really liked it. It was too big. I got the large version, and I didn't carry it because it was so big. And I keep meaning to get the mini because I think the mini is the perfect size. But I thought Doug Ritter he said that he was going to come out with a MagnaCut version of that. I have yet to see that drop or hear any information on it. So I'm honestly holding off in hopes of that because that's the one that I would love to get. A MagnaCut with carbon fiber and a mini, that would be the perfect Doug Ritter Hogue MKS. So for me, I don't know about you guys. Anybody else have had the Doug Ritter Hogue? I like it. I like his designs, and I definitely want to support Knife Rights 100%. I appreciate what he does. Uh, so one of the things that we were, sorry. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm responding because I was about to. Um, I had a knife that I really enjoyed. It was also it was the it was the Arcform Darkform. That was a beautiful knife, and I've always loved the aesthetic about that. That was one of those knives that I built up quite a bit. And going back to the topic of, what knife led you down after the hype. Everything about that knife is beautiful. Riot made, everything was perfect. There was two things that just broke it for me. It had a fuller that was available in there, but it was so hidden you couldn't use it. It was an unusable fuller, and for me that was like a tease. That was almost like that would be like putting a flipper on a knife, and the flipper not being accessible. Right? It's like you'd want to be able to use it. And then the tang of the blade that's up here, it was literally exposed, and the edge was out there where you could cut yourself on it. But if I dropped anything on it, it was literally sticking out like, okay, I don't know if you can see the tang here. It was literally outside of the scales. And that for me was a deal breaker for an all blacked out version that I wanted to get, that I did get. And so, but what really ended up happening is, so I was willing to kind of deal with all of that, but it was missing. It had two screws that were hidden screws inside, and one of the screws was missing. And if I had bumped it, it would have totally stripped it and scratched it. So I sent it back saying, hey, it's missing a screw, which was really weird because I've never seen Riot ever miss a screw like that. I mean, that was legitimately, I looked inside and you could see there's not a screw there, and then you could see, okay, this will move, and if I hit this and I were to carry this, I would damage it. But the screw thing was big enough that I would want that fixed if I was going to keep it. But that design was really a bummer for me. So if anybody else has an Arcform Darkform, are they all like that, where the tang of the blade actually is exposed right there? Is that typical for every Arcform Darkform version or every Arcform type of knife like that? I guess it's called a slim foot or slim whatever, I forget what it's called, but Oh, it was pinned, but now it has screws on the Manix 2 lightweight. Okay. The Manix 2 is G10. The Manix 2 lightweight is FRN. Until last year, it was pinned and is now screws. Okay, so that's cool. Now, Me with Knives, do you have the Manix 2 with the G10? Or do you have the lightweight, or do you have both? Yeah, I will say, like here, like this is pinned right here, but the other screws are okay, but I'm never, you don't always want pins everywhere. Like it's not always as stable, right? I think like the pair 3, where this has a pin, these are all screws on this, and so the pair 2, the Paramilitary 2 is just, I happen to like the fact that this has all screws. It just feels a little, I don't know, gives me a little more stability or security, I think. But I don't know. That's just my kind of how I look at it. Yeah, and I think Hogue, when Hogue picked it up, it was because it was exclusively all the money they make on that goes to Doug Ritter for knife rights, which I'm totally cool about. But I really want the carbon fiber with the MagnaCut. I really want that. So yeah. So that was the arc form. That was one of those that I kind of was bummed out about. Um, I did. We talked about it earlier. Like I was at the Blade Bar. No, it was House of Blades, and I handled a Curtis Custom, and a Curtis Custom always looked really kind of interesting. But what was really disappointing for me on that one was they had a fuller that you couldn't really use. You couldn't reverse flip, and that to me was like, I don't understand why you would design a fuller on a really high-end knife and not be able to use it. And then it turned out that they said that, well, they have certain versions will that are meant to be flippers and some that aren't. And that, I guess they tune it differently. So I mean, if that's meant to be intentional, then that's fine. I guess, if that's what you're looking for, but that was kind of disappointing for me. Hey, Electric Buzz, great talking to you tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap it up here probably in about 15 minutes because I actually have to go get my son from his job. He's been working at Panera. He's been saving up money to get his lamb for his FFA. He's the kid that when he has a vision and he has a goal, he's gonna get there. So I want to support him in that. But we will probably be wrapping up in about 15 minutes, so if that's okay with you guys, so I can go get him. But hey, real quick, for everybody else that is still here, I'm just really curious. What new knife or thing have you been looking for? Because I'm always kind of curious if there's something like I've already learned about the Jaeger version 3 tonight. That was super exciting. And then Evo version 3.0, and you got that one, or the Evo 3.0. That was really cool. Hey, Kresk, have a great night. Great. I don't even think I said hello. I'm sorry. But hello and welcome and have a good night too. And glad you were here and appreciate it. Uh, Come back and if I get that knife that I won in the pass around that Civivi let us have, and Civivi is going to let me have as a giveaway. Hopefully next week, if it's here, I'll have a giveaway knife for that live show. So come back and check that out. I'll post if there's a giveaway, and I have it as we get closer to the date. So I'll let you know if it's here. Flashlights. Yeah, flashlights can get really addictive. I have two flashlights myself, and I really want to get like the Surefire, and every time I look at them, I get into them. But like right now, I have these two, and these work great, right? One obviously is a little more beat up than the other, but yeah, flashlights can be really addictive. But again, flashlights are one of those things that I use this all the time, and I want it to be a hard use sort of tool because this is something that I always use. So if some of those flashlights can get really expensive, and they're really cool, but I don't know if I'm willing to spend $500-600. So Me with Knives, what flashlights have you been looking at? Are you looking at like Olight, Surelight, Surefire, Streamlight? What have you been looking at? Um, kind of curious. Hey, thanks, Kresk. I hope you appreciate that. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Okay, so me with knives. I just read your comment. I missed it. So you have the G10 version and the G10 XL. You have the lightweight version and the G10 XL. I know you're talking about flashlights, but I want to go back to that topic real quick, if you don't mind me asking. Which handle material, which one do you like more? Do you like the G10 or the FRN version, the lightweight version? Oh, you got, hey, Matt D, you got the titanium S90V pyrite? Oh, it's coming in tomorrow. You know, had I not already had, had I not already have my my limited edition here and this one, I was really, really, really tempted to get that. I don't know if you saw, I posted about it, and hopefully, if you didn't, hopefully you saw my community post about it, and maybe that helped you. But if you didn't, I'm glad you got a hold of it, because I tried to, as soon as I got the notification that that was available, I tried to let everybody know. But if you didn't, I'm glad you were able to get one while they're still available. That's really cool. I got to tell you, this is by far, I don't know about you guys, any of you who have the regular pyrite with the thumb studs, you can give this to almost any person, and I think they can flick this knife and be shocked. All you tell them to do is put your fingers right here, put your thumb here, just slide it on the edge and just push up, reasonable speed, and it'll deploy. And it does that for everybody. It works exactly the same way with your reverse finger, and they are always amazed how easy it is. The Workhorse ST, oh, it's for a flashlight collector. So now the Workhorse TS10, that's probably one of those titanium hand milled. Is it something you would actually carry? I'm just curious. I mean, because like people are like, well, knives I collect, and I can see that with a flashlight. But for me, flashlight, it has a battery in there. If I'm not using it in the battery, it leaks acid. So I would have to probably take the battery out if you're not going to use it. Or is it something that's so nice that maybe you use around your desk and you probably don't carry with you because it's a nicer one? I'm just kind of curious. I've always I like the idea of other flashlights. There's a few other Streamlights and a few other Surefire Olights and whatever that are thin, kind of like pencil pin width wise. I want to get one for my wife for her purse. I think she would enjoy that. All right, so they do FRN to keep the cost down. Okay. I was curious about that, but you can get the lightweight like scales that you can put on them, right? They're a little more robust. Oh, the Workhorse is only $25. Oh, that's not bad. So it's not one of those crazy expensive titanium ones. Okay. Oh, 1K. Oh, that's nice. 1K lumens. That's pretty good. Yeah, this one's 1K lumens, and if you leave this on in your pocket, it can burn your leg. I know because I've done it. Those 1K lumens they get warm. That's cool. Yeah, if you guys don't have a flashlight, it's one of those things that I recommend to anybody. It seems sometimes people think like, "Well, you always carry a flashlight," but when you're in a situation and you need a flashlight, everyone's always like, "Do you have your flashlight?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And you'd be surprised how handy it is. And once you start carrying it, how awesome it is to have that flashlight with you always. Oh, Chinese lumens don't seem as much. The one thing I like about these Streamlights, these are the USA made versions. Now, the cheaper versions of the Streamlights are not made in the USA. At least when I bought these were made in the USA. So these two, and they're a little more expensive. They're older, so I don't know if they're still made in the USA. I hope they are, but these are definitely good quality. Now, what I like about this one, if you didn't know, this one, both of these flashlights uses the rechargeable battery. You just plug this in with a micro USB, and then it recharges, and there's actually a light that goes on for, it's up here somewhere, and then it charges. It's really nice. So I can always, I have like 3 of these batteries, so I can always replace them out. So that's really nice. And it actually is brighter with this rechargeable battery than it is with the little expensive CR123s or whatever, 124s I think they are. Oh, the T12 is a 2000 lumen. Yeah, I actually have a Streamlight, a large one that's up in our bedroom, and it's next to my bed, and it's our emergency one, and that one does 3000 lumens. And man, that is bright. You can blind someone with that. It is just insane. 1000 lumens is bright. You get to 2000 lumens, it's insanely bright. You get to 3000 lumens, and you feel like you're looking at the sun or something. But $40 for that, that's a great price. Oh, a macro stream, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, for the 50 the Candela. Okay, so it has 50 lumens for that one. Wow, I didn't think that that one went up to. I thought it was only 300 lumens. That's cool. But like for my wife, I want to get her like a little one, but 300 lumens would be more than enough for her, right? She would need it for, I could see an emergency or something. I don't think she would carry something that was massive, anyways. Yeah, and this one never leaves my pocket, anyways, either. I've actually had to bend this clip back a few times, had to take this off and then squeeze the back of this on so it's nice and tight. As you can see, I stretched this quite a bit, and as you all know, you probably know this, is that, where is it? Yeah, see how it's flat right here? That's so you can lay it down, it doesn't roll when you put it on something. And that really works out well. I don't know if you can see that. You put it right here like this, and it doesn't roll. So that's always nice. I like that. Those are little things that they do. They don't talk about, especially because you put it on top of your hood, you put it on top of the car, or you put it somewhere and you don't want it to roll off. That's always nice. Oh, it's 250 lumens, but that's not bad. The macro stream is 500 lumens, and the micro stream is 250 lumens. For a micro, for 250 lumens, I think that's pretty nice. I mean, you can't complain about that for how small it is. That's the one that's about the size of a pin, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's the one that it can take the AAA batteries, like two AAA batteries, right? Or is it the one AAA battery? I know it's like a really small battery. Or is it the rechargeable one? And if you guys don't have a flashlight, I mean, here's the thing. I always recommend to my sons, I tell them, you should always have a flashlight in your car. If you don't carry it on, you at least have it in a car. You should always have that because you never know when you need it if you're in a situation. I remember one night I came back from a movies, and my wife didn't want to go see it, so I went with some friends, and I was coming back by myself, and I was on the highway, and I hit a coyote in the middle of the highway going 70 miles an hour. Destroyed my radiator. I was on a SUV, I had a CRV. Killed a coyote. It was a pregnant female coyote, and in Texas, you actually get like 50 or $100 for the tail or the ear because coyotes are so prevalent here that they actually pay you to kill them and hunt them. Just like the wild boar here, you could kill 70% of all the wild boar in Texas, and by next year they'll be fully repopulated. You can't. They're hard to control. They just grow insanely, and farmers will pay you to come and to get rid of them because they destroy crops and they destroy all sorts of things. They are a lot. And well, I hit this, and had I not had my flashlight going back there, I wouldn't have really been able to see everything. I would have used my phone. It would have been terrible. But it turns out, as I went to see the coyote, all of a sudden I heard all this howling, and across the highway, there was a whole pack of those coyotes. And I was like, yeah, it's time to get back to the car. So I went back to the car really quick because I was like, I just killed one of the females. I don't want them to come over and see what's going on. So, having a flashlight was really important to clear my way to get back. Okay, so the MicroStream is the one that I have. It's a AAA. That's cool, yeah. And then the 1L, okay, that's the 350 lumens. It runs on the, okay, so it runs the 1L, 1AA, the 9 batteries. Okay. So your next purchase is going to be you're going to get the macro or the MicroStream? It sounds like you're looking at one of those. Yeah, it would. It would. I mean, that's. like this is 500 lumens, and for me, for the size, and the other thing I look for is how long can this light up, right? And what I also got the string light because of that. You can strobe. So if you guys, if anybody has epilepsy or anything like that, or any weird reactions to strobing, I'm sorry. I was about to show you the strobe, just to let you know ahead of time. But this is also like if someone were to come at you or you were in a dangerous position, you have to defend yourself. That can actually give you a chance to immobilize them if you strobe their face. Now this is the 1,000 lumens, and that is way brighter. And so you can program this. There's a whole bunch of features to be different things. But I like this because of I can do that, right? That's one thing. But I can also do a really dim. I don't have to use a full brightness, but this will last for hours. So it actually, it's not one of these that's I get 15, 30 minutes and that's it, it's over. So if I'm out somewhere and I really need a flashlight for a while, it'll work for a while. So the ProTech 1L, I think this is, yeah, so I have the 2LX. And then this right here is this is the HLX. So those are the two versions that I have here of these. So they're bigger, they last longer, right? But they're bigger because they have more batteries. But if you want a smaller, more compact one, so like these guys, all of these, you can run them on two CR123s, or the nice thing about these is I can run them on this rechargeable. This is the SLB26, right? And this is equivalent to two of those. And this is rechargeable, and I have three of these, and they recharge really, really nicely. It's lithium, so it's really nice to recharge, and it works on both of these guys. Both of these guys use the same one, and you actually get more lumens out of the rechargeable one than you do the batteries. So if you do the batteries, it's not quite as bright, and so both of these work in the same one, and I like that. And they're totally water sealed, so if I drop this in water, I can pick it up and it'll still keep working. That's what I like about these guys. So really nice, and this is really solid back there too. All right, I like those. I mean, so for me, EDC gear is going to be, I'm always going to carry a flashlight. I'm always going to carry a knife. I have chapstick because that's just, you need it in the winter and whatever. One other thing that I've been carrying lately, and you know, I should do a review on this. I bought this from Lynch Clip. So I don't know if you know Lynch Clip. I have a Lynch Clip on here, right? This is a Lynch Clip that I put on this one. This is a Lynch Clip that's on this one, right? So I buy the custom Lynch Clips that I put on there. They sell these key rings, and this goes onto my keychain. And I saw it and I thought that's interesting because I kept depressing my alarm and kill my battery in my remote all the time in my pocket. And it was really getting frustrating because I also carry my flashlight over here and sometimes it would push against it. So then I got this Lynch Clip and I thought, well, this will be perfect. I can carry this. This will face inside away from everything and it'll be on inside of my pocket. This has saved so much money on batteries that it's paid for itself. This is really quite amazing. If you haven't checked this out, it seems like not much, but this little thing, and it doesn't look weird because if you're already carrying a pocket knife, it looks like you're carrying a pocket knife. It's not, you don't feel like you're carrying some big giant outside loophole like, you know, an old pocket watch kind of thing. It just works really nicely. And it's easy to get to your keys. Sometimes if your pockets are full, it's easy to get to. I really should do a review on this. This is something I highly recommend, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to check this out. This is a Lynch Clip one. I was super, yeah, this is just a good little thing to have. All right, guys, I think we're going to probably have to wrap it up because I got to go get my son. But man, this has been another great evening, great conversation. I appreciate everyone. Again, thank you to you guys. I can't believe we're at 1,710 at least subscribers. That is insane. So thank you. You guys make this so much fun. You really do. I mean, I really enjoy this, and I'm honored by all of y'all. I really am. And I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, and thank you to everyone who came here tonight. And if you haven't had a chance, maybe hit the like button before you head on out. And stay tuned. I'll try to see if we have a giveaway for next week, and I'll try to post about that as soon as I know. But I really just want to say thank you to you guys again, and just I hope you guys have a great week. Let me know if you guys got any cool things coming, any cool knives. You hear about anything new? I would love to hear about it. I am super excited. I'm going to be taking a look for that Jaeger now. I cannot tell you that was one of those knives I was trying to hunt down, but I missed it. But that looks like one of those knives I could actually get my hands on. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, and Tyler, thank you. You'll probably see something very soon for a video that you have had a hand in. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys. You guys have a great evening. I am going to say good night. Anything else? Anybody wanted to? Man, I'm doing this like I'm conducting one of my project meetings where I'm like, all right, anybody else got anything else? I don't know why I did that. So if it sounded like I was sounding like a work meeting, it was because I did. I went into my work mode there for a second. And I guess I do that. I manage a lot of projects and applications. So if I sounded like that, I apologize. But hey, it's been great. Thank you guys. You have a great evening. We'll talk to you guys soon and see you guys next week or throughout the week. Bye. Oh, wait. Somebody said, get the Well Tool T1 Pro today. What is that? The Well Tool T1. Now you, okay, before I leave, I gotta look what that is. Well Tool T1 Pro. Oh, is that a flashlight? Oh, 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 that's cool. That's a nice size little flashlight. Okay, hey, that's a good idea. All right, so this is what he was mentioning. We'll stop on that. I am not even familiar with these guys. I'm gonna have to check this out. This looks really, really cool. That's a cool flashlight. Hey, thanks for sharing that. All right, with that, I will wish you guys good night and have a great evening. Bye.